What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative. This is a channel I created in order to have a place to come and share with all of you about all of the things that I read. I do read in a variety of different genres. My main two that are my favorites are horror and fantasy. So today I'm going to do a little book review for you guys about a book that combines horror and fantasy. At least it does in my opinion. And that book is Aching God by Mike Shell. It is a self-published book. It is the first one in the Iconoclast series. And it is definitely what I would call a dark fantasy. It has the right elements of horror included inside of it that just really make it a fantastic and enjoyable read for someone like me who loves fantasy, who loves horror. A few of my fantasy loving friends, that is the only genre they read in, they found this book a bit dark. They were just kind of taken aback by a few of the darker things that happened in it. So just be aware, it is on the darker side of fantasy. If you're someone who loves playing Dungeons and Dragons, or you grew up playing video games that are turn-based, kind of like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft, something where you build a party and you go out and kill a bad guy together, and then a kind of off-the-wall like movie comparison, Indiana Jones. Not the humor of Indiana Jones. There's definitely no humor in this book, but the archaeological side of it, where he goes into the Temple of Doom, things like that, where you're looking for artifacts and they may be cursed. They may not be, because there is a league, a Siriatic league, and what they do is they go and explore these temples from a people that have been wiped out, and they recover these artifacts because they may be cursed, they may do something, they just don't know what these artifacts do. So let's get into the meat of this review. Let's talk about this book and why I chose to read it. Well, as you can probably guess, it's because of a review I saw on BookTube. And that review was by Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads. Of course, I will have it linked in the description box down below. He made it sound so good, and of course, I grew up playing those turn-based games I told you about. I am presently in the midst of a D&D campaign, and it just really sounded like it would be right up my alley. So I told Andrew, I'm like, man, that sounds really good. I put the trilogy on my wish list. Next thing I knew, book one showed up on my doorstep from Andrew. So that's how I came to be reading it. Let's talk about why I wanted to read it. What is this book about? So earlier I mentioned to you the Siriatic League. It is a group of people with different specialities who have been trained to go into these temples as they are found in the land, and these temples were made by a people who have been wiped out by the gods. I don't know how to say the name of these people. I'll put it on the screen so that you can see it. But these people created, or their gods created, some artifacts and relics that do different things. Mostly what they're doing is the Siriatic League brings it back and they seal it away so that if it's cursed or it has some sort of nefarious thing that it does, it can't hurt other people. Arik has retired from the Siriatic League. He's living out in the country and he's trying to get on with his life. He receives word that his daughter has taken ill, so he returns to the League to see what has happened. Come to find out, a gem that had been retrieved from the Barrowlands. The Barrowlands is where all of the temple of this dead race are located. There's one temple that was found. It was only ever entered one time, and the one time it was entered, this gem was recovered. The case that the gem was contained in was being cleaned, and the person cleaning it nicked themselves. Blood got on the gem and it released this disease, and it was killing everybody in the temple. One of the people that had fallen ill from it is Arik's daughter. So the high-ranking members thought, if we can get Arik to come back because of his daughter, we can send him to take the gem back to the temple. Pretty much the entire book is forming the fellowship, if you will, the group that is going to take the gem back to this temple. The majority of the book is just them getting there. I feel, my subjective opinion, the author spent too much time getting to the end game. Of course, as soon as you know what the quest is, you want to be at this temple, you want to be inside, you want to know who the Aching God is. Other than that, I really enjoyed this book. I loved the characters. None of them were really delved into or developed a whole lot, but there was enough given to you that you could relate to them, you could like them or love them. There are maps. If it's a fantasy book, it's got to have maps. The author does include several maps, and there is a link in the front that I'll put in the description box down below where you can go to his website to see the colored version of all of those maps. In addition, he's got appendix in the back of the book that tell you who your cast of characters are, what they did, especially if they're of the Psoriatic League. They can do different things. You can have an alchemist, you can have a sorcerer, you can have a warrior, just all those different types. Appendix A runs through your characters, and then Appendix B has your places, the creatures, the gods, because you have the gods of our current race that's living there, and then you have the gods that are of the dead race from there. Appendix C has your titles and what all that means. So that is extremely helpful that the author included that in with this book. There's a lot of world building that takes place. We're learning about the world as it is settled now. We learn a little bit about what the civilization was before that one, the dead race that got wiped out. And because it was a quest and our characters have to travel, we get to see a lot of the world. And I'm betting that's going to continue to get expounded upon in the next two books. But without a doubt, the magic, the relics, the gods are the best, most interesting part of this book. I am looking forward into learning more. I feel that we got all of our introduction out of the way. All of our groundwork has been laid, and I think the next two books are going to be just all action. I'm very excited. I really enjoyed this one. I can't wait to delve into book 2, which will be happening in November. And of course, we're going to wrap it up with the third book in December. If you want to join the read along, these books read so fast. So you can read this sucker in a couple of days and then join us for Sin Eater, which is going to start November 1st. I'll have all that information linked down below if you want to join us. If you're someone who only reads fantasy and you're not quite sure if this book might be for you, if you have the Kindle Unlimited subscription, it is included. I believe the whole trilogy is in Kindle Unlimited. Just read the first 2 chapters and that will be enough to let you know what the tone is, what kind of things are going to be taking place in this story, and you'll be able to tell if this is something you enjoy. But if you're a horror lover and a fantasy lover, you're definitely going to love this one. But like I mentioned earlier, it is self-published. This one came out in 2018. The trilogy is all out and available, so it is completed for those of you who don't like starting series that aren't finished. It's complete. You've got nothing to fear. You can binge them back to back if you want to. In fact, it was really hard not to go right into the second book once I finish this one. Guys, that's going to wrap up my thoughts and opinions regarding Mike Shell's Aching God, book 1 of the Iconoclast trilogy. I hope you enjoyed this review. If it sounds like it might be something you're interested in checking out, let me know down below. If you've read it, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. That will do it for now. Guys, I hope you have had a great start to your morning. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.